Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we are taking a fascinating journey into the world of American coin collecting with coins that may look small and ordinary at first glance, but can become a subject of serious attention when its date, mint mark, condition, and unusual appearance are carefully examined. Coin number 1. This 1955 with D Lincoln wheat penny, specifically the example described as being in blue condition, with a stated market value of approximately $154. Before we begin, it is important to understand that a six-figure value should never be assumed for every 1955 with D wheat penny. Actual prices depend on authentication, grading, originality, preservation, rarity, errors or varieties, provenance, and documented auction results. The figure discussed in this video is the market value supplied for this particular scenario, and collectors should always have a valuable coin professionally examined before making any buying or selling decision. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most recognizable American coins ever produced. It was introduced in 1909 and continued through 1958, featuring the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat ears design on the reverse. For generations, these pennies circulated through American pockets, cash registers, banks, stores, and homes. Because they were produced in enormous numbers over the decades, many wheat pennies remain affordable today. However, that does not mean every wheat penny is ordinary. Certain dates, mint marks, varieties, errors, and exceptional condition examples can attract enormous attention from collectors. The coin we are discussing today is dated 1955 and carries a D mint mark, indicating that it was struck at the United States Mint facility in Denver. That small letter can be extremely important in coin collecting because mint marks help identify where a coin was manufactured. On a Lincoln wheat penny, the mint mark is located on the obverse side, below the date and near the area of the coin associated with Lincoln's portrait. When examining a 1955 D penny, one of the first things a collector should do is carefully verify that the date really is 1955 and that the mint mark is genuinely a D. The year 1955 itself is famous in Lincoln cent collecting because of the legendary 1955 double die obverse. This is one of the most celebrated varieties in the entire series. However, a normal 1955 with D penny should not automatically be confused with the famous Philadelphia 1955 double die variety. A collector must inspect the coin carefully and understand exactly what makes a particular variety valuable. A 1955 date alone does not make a coin worth a fortune, and a D mint mark alone does not guarantee an extraordinary value. Authentication and attribution are essential. Now, let's talk about the phrase blue condition. In standard professional coin grading, colors such as blue, red, brown, or green are not normally used as the primary technical grade of a Lincoln wheat penny. Professional grading focuses on preservation, wear, strike, luster, surface quality, and other characteristics. Color can nevertheless be an important visual characteristic, especially when discussing toning. A penny that appears blue may have developed unusual surface coloration through environmental exposure, storage conditions, chemical reactions, or other factors. Collectors should therefore be very careful before assuming that blue coloration automatically increases a coin's value. In fact, unusual color can sometimes make a coin more interesting, but it can also raise questions. Was the color naturally developed over many decades? Was the coin stored in a particular environment? Has it been cleaned, treated, chemically altered, or exposed to substances that changed its appearance? These questions matter enormously when a coin is claimed to be worth a very large amount of money. The obverse of the 1955 with D Lincoln wheat penny features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right. Lincoln's portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner and became one of the most enduring designs in American numismatic history. Around the portrait are inscriptions including "Liberty and in God we trust," while the date appears prominently in the lower portion of the design. On the 1955 with D example, the D mint mark beneath the date identifies the Denver Mint. The reverse of the Lincoln wheat penny is equally historic. Instead of the Lincoln Memorial design that appeared on later Lincoln cents, the wheat penny features two wheat ears surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum appearing above. This reverse design gives the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. Next coin, number 2. This 1958 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, described in this video as having a green condition and a stated market value of $151. Before we get into the details, there is an important point every collector should understand. A normal 1958 Philadelphia wheat penny is not generally worth anything, close to $151. Current reference sources show that ordinary examples can be worth only a small amount, depending on condition, while exceptional varieties, errors, and extraordinary certified specimens can command substantially higher prices. The 1958 Lincoln wheat penny is historically important because it represents the final regular issue year of the famous Lincoln wheat reverse design. In 1959, the United States Mint replaced the wheat ears reverse with the Lincoln Memorial design. PCGS describes 1958 as the conclusion of the wheat cent's historic 50-year run. That makes the 1958 penny particularly interesting to collectors because it marks the end of an era that began in 1909. When you hold a 1958 Lincoln wheat penny in your hand, you are holding a small piece of American history. The coin may be only 19 millimeters in diameter and weigh approximately 3.11 grams, but its design connects collectors to decades of American life. The coin was made primarily of copper, with a composition of approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. The Philadelphia version carried no mint mark, which is exactly what we are examining today. The absence of a mint mark on a 1958 Lincoln wheat penny is not automatically a sign of rarity. In fact, it indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins traditionally carried no mint mark. The 1958 Philadelphia issue had a reported mintage of approximately 252,525,000 pieces, meaning the date itself is not considered rare simply because it lacks a mint mark. This is one of the most important facts to understand before discussing extraordinary valuations. So why could a particular 1958 no mint mark wheat penny attract tremendous attention? The answer lies in the details. Collectors do not evaluate coins only by their dates. They examine condition, color, varieties, errors, strike quality, surface preservation, provenance, and authentication. A common date can become highly desirable when an example possesses a rare and documented characteristic. The first thing to inspect is the date. Make sure the coin actually reads 1958. Over the course of nearly 7 decades, coins can become worn, scratched, stained, or corroded, making individual digits difficult to identify. A good magnifying glass or coin loop can help you examine the numbers carefully. Look at the shape of the 1, the curves of the 9, the 5, and especially the final 8th. The date should be examined together with the surrounding fields to determine whether the appearance is natural or the result of damage. Next, examine the mint mark area. On a Philadelphia 1958 wheat penny, there should be no D or S mint mark beneath the date. That absence is normal. Denver cents carried a D, while the Philadelphia issue carried no mint mark. Reliable references identify the 1958 no mint mark coin as the Philadelphia issue. Now let's talk about the unusual phrase green condition. In professional numismatics, green is not a standard grade such as good, very fine, extremely fine, or mint state. Color can describe the appearance of a coin, but the grade is determined by technical factors such as wear, surface preservation, luster, strike, and overall quality. A green appearance on a copper coin therefore deserves careful investigation rather than automatically being treated as a sign of rarity. This is extremely important because collectors generally want coins to retain their original surfaces. A person who discovers a strange-looking wheat penny may be tempted to polish it or use chemicals to improve its appearance. That can be a serious mistake. Never clean a potentially valuable coin before it has been examined by an expert. Cleaning can leave scratches, remove original surfaces, and reduce collector appeal. Imagine the historical moment when this penny was produced. The United States was moving through a period of rapid technological and cultural change. The nation was entering the final years of the 1950, and the coin in your hand was being produced just before the wheat reverse disappeared from regular circulation. That historical context makes the 1958 wheat penny more interesting even when the coin has only a modest financial value. Next, coin number 3. This 1924 with D. Lincoln wheat penny, specifically an example described as being in very fine condition. With a stated market value of approximately $154. Before we begin, there is an important warning for collectors. A normal 1924 with a D. Lincoln wheat penny is not automatically worth $154. The actual value of an individual coin depends on its authenticity, grade, surface quality, rarity, varieties, errors, provenance, and documented sales. The 1924 with D. Lincoln wheat penny is nevertheless a fascinating coin and one that deserves serious attention from collectors. It belongs to the classic Lincoln wheat cent series, a series that began in 1909 and continued until 1958. The early 1920 were especially interesting years for Lincoln cents, because production levels varied considerably between the different United States mint facilities. When collectors study the 1924 with D issue, they are not simply looking at an old penny. They are examining a surviving artifact from a very different era of American history. The first thing to understand about the 1924 with D wheat penny is the importance of its D mint mark. The letter D indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. On Lincoln wheat cents, the mint mark appears on the obverse below the date. This small letter can make an enormous difference when collecting a particular date because coins produced at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco can have very different mintages and levels of scarcity. The 1924 with D is particularly interesting because it is considered a scarce issue in the Lincoln wheat cent series, especially in higher grades. Collectors often pay close attention to the condition of surviving examples because many of these coins circulated heavily during their original period of use. Finding an example with strong remaining detail and attractive surfaces can be considerably more difficult than finding a heavily worn specimen. Now imagine discovering one of these coins today. Perhaps it is sitting in an old family collection. Maybe it was stored in a small envelope, placed in an antique coin album, or inherited from a relative. You look at the date and see 1924. Then you notice the small d beneath the date. Suddenly, the coin becomes much more interesting. On the 1924 with D coin, the D mint mark is located beneath the date. That small letter is extremely important because it confirms the Denver origin of the coin. Collectors should examine the mint mark carefully and make sure it is genuine. Since valuable coins can be altered or counterfeited, authentication is especially important when dealing with a coin that is claimed to have an extraordinary value. The wheat reverse was used for nearly 50 years, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable designs in American coinage. When collectors hold a 1924 with D penny, they are holding a coin that was produced more than 3 decades before the wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The year 1924 itself places the coin in an especially interesting period of American history. The United States was experiencing economic and technological changes during the 1920s. Now let's discuss the phrase very fine condition. In professional numismatics, very fine generally refers to a coin that has experienced noticeable circulation, but still retains substantial design detail. The coin will show wear on the highest points, but important features of Lincoln's portrait and the wheat reverse should remain visible. For a Lincoln wheat cent, collectors carefully examine Lincoln's hair, cheek, jawline, ear, coat details, and other design elements. On the reverse, the wheat ears and lettering are particularly important. The amount of remaining detail helps determine whether the coin is truly very fine or belongs to another grade category. However, the term very fine should not simply be assigned based on appearance in a photograph. Professional grading involves a detailed evaluation of the entire coin. Surface marks, scratches, corrosion, cleaning, color, strike quality, and other factors can influence the final grade. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1924 with D. Lincoln wheat penny, stay tuned for more videos covering rare wheat pennies, valuable Lincoln cents, mint errors, doubled dies, scarce dates, unusual varieties, and other fascinating American coins. Keep learning, keep searching, and always verify extraordinary valuations through professional sources and documented market evidence. And remember, a coin's value is not determined by a headline alone. It is determined by what the coin actually is, how rare it is, how well it has survived, whether it is authentic, and what qualified collectors are genuinely willing to pay for it. The 1924 with D wheat penny may be small enough to fit comfortably on your fingertip, but its history stretches back almost 100 years. That is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Sometimes the greatest discoveries are hiding in the smallest places.